all of the apps that you use, and I think there's probably more, but I just did the first 3 pages.
You didn't stop with WhatsApp, did you?
No,
You looked into her entire phone, correct?
no, I looked it down to 3 pages of the Screen Time app.
You were in detective mode and you didn't look through her actual text messages?
I did look at the text message threads on her phone.
You looked at the text message threads on her phone, right?
I did not look through all of her text messages. I opened the texting app to see if there's anything that looked suspicious there. There wasn't, but really I went straight to WhatsApp because that was the most used application.
You looked through her emails, correct?
Not at this time. I did end up looking through her emails later, mostly with her consent. Like as I'm seeing her on her phone and she's writing an email, I'll be like, "Hey, who are you emailing? Can I see?" And then she'll show it to me.
This was after then you confronted her, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's focus on this part of the detective mode for now. You looked at her phone calls, correct?
I looked at the phone calls that she made through WhatsApp. I didn't actually look at the phone calls on the phone.
Okay. So you're suspicious of your wife for 2 months already, right? When you do this.
Yes.
And you look through her WhatsApp, correct?
Yes.
You don't look through all of her text messages, correct?
Correct.
And you don't look at her phone calls, right?
Right.
These are photographs of the screen of the phone, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't take a screenshot and send it to yourself, right?
Not of this. No.
Not for these photos.
Mm-mm.
Ariel didn't know you were taking these photos, isn't that right?
No.
Of course she didn't. He was surveilling her for quite a while. He's telling a little bit of the story, I believe. I don't think he's into all the things, for sure.
Actually, I'm sorry. We're going to just go to page 4. At the top of this document, this is still the Word document that we were talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. It is called, again, Screen Time and Deleted Messages, right?
Yes.
So most of the page we're looking at is what you copied and pasted or downloaded.
Wait a second. Wait. He had a document of deleted messages? Whoa, he was deep diving, dude. Oh, jeez. This is scary shit. This is scary.
From WhatsApp, correct?
Holy shit.
Yes.
But the very top of this page says deleted messages from Sunday 12/1, parentheses, all deleted, right?
Yes.
You wrote that part.
I wrote
correct?
that part. Yep.
Okay. So you were able to see and record all the deleted messages from Sunday, December 1st, 2024, correct?
Yes.
And you read these messages, right?
Yes, I did.
You read them and starts out, we'll go for the first couple section. Mr. Miller says, good morning, right?
Yes.
He says, I hope you're getting some good sleep, right?
Yes.
And you talked about his sleep, correct?
Yes.
Then Ariel says, good morning, right?
Yes.
There's nothing sexual in these messages, is there, Dr. Koenig?
iExcel is helping.
That's what I've been saying this whole time. Like, seriously. This is what I'm saying. This guy is creating this narrative. He's creating this sinister narrative that I don't think exists. And I think that this is the start of the unraveling of that. Sorry, I got to get this.
Not
Oh, yeah.
just about good morning, about the whole thing.
About the whole thing, okay.
Yeah.
You talked about that they were sending each other links for music, right?
I did talk about that.
And those links are actually contained later on in this document, correct?
They were in earlier conversations. Can't remember where they are in the document.
This guy is angry as fuck. And I'm sorry if you don't like swearing, probably not the channel for you, but yeah, this guy's pissed.
We moved on now to page 5 of States 118. Actually, we'll just keep moving forward. Okay, so we're on page 6 now.
So much.
And you included a screenshot of the WhatsApp now, correct?
Yes.
And part of the screenshot, we'll zoom in, is your note at the very top says these are deleted messages from Tuesday 12/3. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so far at this point in detective mode, you've looked at messages from 12/1, correct?
Yes.
You've also looked at messages from 12/2, correct?
Yes.
And now you're on to December 3rd, right?
That's right.
And December 3rd is the day that Ariel is going to San Luis Obispo, correct?
Yeah, she was actually not arriving until the next day, but she was leaving Maui on that day.
And then she had a layover in Arizona, correct?
That's correct.
And in this photo we're looking at here, Ariel is texting Jeff Miller about being on the plane and getting ready to go to sleep, correct?
Yeah, that's one of the messages that's on there. So this is just the messages that were not deleted by the end of the day that day. So there's a lot more messages that happened during the day, but she had deleted them in different parts of the day. But yeah, the last message on this page says, "I hope packing went well. I'm on the plane and ready to sleep."
Right.
But he's a work caller.
And then your notes about
like, they
what you
have
think
to
about
talk.
these messages continue onto the next page, correct?
Not really what I think about it. So I was keeping notes of when I took the screenshots and what I was seeing at the time, because the way the screenshots work on the computer is that I have to basically copy and paste the screenshot, and that takes some time. So sometimes in between me copying the page and pasting it into the Word document or somewhere else and saving it and going back, she had already deleted other messages. And so I would just take notes and say, like, this message was sent.
What the fuck? This is the weirdest interaction. Okay. So instead of like literally being like an adult and sitting down with your wife and saying, I'm concerned about this relationship you have with your coworker. Like, I saw a couple messages and I'm like freaking out. Can we talk about this? Like, I'm feeling really insecure. No, you're going to go into detective mode. And that's like a polite way of saying you're surveying your wife and doing all of this shady shit behind her back instead of dealing with the situation. So on the one hand, he's spying on her and making meticulous notes. And on the other hand, she's deleting messages. Like, this relationship is shitty already. It's shitty. It's a shitty relationship. It's not a safe relationship.
Or I could screenshot it, or and then sometimes she would delete some of the messages and then later she would go back and delete more. And so it created a very confusing bunch of screenshots that I had. And so I took notes to kind of help myself piece it back together.
So the detective is getting frustrated with, okay, oh my gosh.
At a later time.
This is crazy.
And,
crazy
if that
behavior.
makes sense.
This is crazy behavior. This is
not really my thoughts about what I
This is not
was thinking
normal.
about the screenshots at the time. Do you understand? I was just taking notes of like
I get
the order in which that they came in, and so I can make.
I get wanting to see messages and like figure out what the hell's going on. Like a little bit. Like a little bit. But this is way beyond that. This is way beyond.
Of the screenshots
This is
later.
really unhealthy.
And naturally you were upset as you did this, right?
I had a lot of different feelings at the time.
He was
suspicious
angry.
and sad and
Shit.
um,
Sad.
not happy.
Yeah.
Suspicious, sad, not happy,
Okay. Whatever.
upset.
He was
Yeah,
angry as shit.
Probably fair to say.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okie doke.
We're gonna take this exhibit down.
He's not a very good actor.
And again, this exhibit you actually emailed to a Mr. Bunting, correct?
Yes.
Emailed.
And Mr. Bunting was at the time your best friend, right?
Who did he email?
Yes.
And
One of my best friends. Yeah.
Okay. At the
Mr. Bunting was
time.
married to a woman named Gianna, correct?
Gianna. It's spelled with a D, but
For
she's
fuck's sake.
Brazilian.
We
So,
we don't
Wonder
care
Woman
about how she
pronounced
spells her
Gianna,
name.
correct?
Okay?
That's correct.
And Gianna was Ariel's best friend, right?
One of her best friends. Yeah.
So you send this email to Bryant Bunting on December 4th, 2024 at 3:33 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And that's before you leave for this trip, correct?
Yes.
And this is a trip that's going to include you, Ariel, Bryant, and Gianna, correct?
Yes.
This guy, dangerous. Well, obviously, but oh my goodness.
You also had 2 other attachments to Mr. Bunting, correct?
I don't remember if you could show me.
All right, we'll publish page 1 of this exhibit again.
Sorry, what number is it?
This states 118. Okay, and we'll zoom in on the middle of the page to attachment names. There were 3 attachments to this email, correct?
Yes.
Okay, the first was screen time and deleted messages, right?
Yes.
And that's the document that we've gone through so far, correct?
Yes.
The second document is some saved chats with pictures, correct?
Yes.
And you reviewed those chats, right?
Yes.
And you reviewed the pictures, correct?
Yes.
Nothing sexual in those chats, right?
No.
Nothing sexual in those pictures, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And the last file is chat.txt. Is that right?
Yes.
And this is what you actually download from WhatsApp, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when you download a chat from WhatsApp, you get a file with a TXT, right?
That's correct.
Now, you said already that you were upset when you were reading these messages, correct?
Yes.
You were upset that she was talking about her personal life with another person, correct?
Yes.
You're upset that she was talking about her kids, right?
Yes.
You're upset that she was talking about the kids putting stuff up on the Christmas tree, right?
God forbid.
Yeah. I mean, in the context of the whole conversation. Yeah. I was upset about that.
And you're upset that your wife was keeping these messages secret from you, correct?
Yes.
So before you confronted Ariel, you emailed these documents to your friend Brian, correct?
That's right.
And you actually emailed these documents to Bryant, before you even got on the plane. Is that right?
That's right.
So before you even talked to Ariel about this at all, you were already telling Bryant. Is that right?
That's right.
Absolutely. He also told the female of the couple before he talked to his own wife about it. I don't understand how someone can be so blind to their own really bad behavior, but he doesn't seem to see it.
You didn't give Ariel a chance to explain herself about these, correct?
Not at all.
Not before
Nope.
I talked to Bryant that day. No.
And
Right. He's
you also
downplaying.
told Gianna, correct?
That's right. He did.
I did tell Gianna the next day that I was suspicious that she's having an affair.
So you told Ariel's best friend about your suspicions before you told Ariel, correct?
Hmm.
A few minutes before. Yes.
No, don't minimize it. You did,
You
dude.
did that because you wanted Gianna and Brian on your side, correct?
That's right.
That's not correct.
You wanted Ariel's best friend to hear about this emotional affair from you, right?
No, that's not correct.
You didn't want Gianna
Oh
to hear
yeah,
about this from
that
Ariel,
is correct, dude.
That's not true.
That's why.
Well, you told Gianna first, isn't that right?
That's right.
You wanted Gianna and Bryant to judge Ariel, correct?
That's not true.
You wanted to isolate Ariel from her best friend,
Mhm.
isn't that right?
That's absolutely not true.
So after you tell your best friend and Ariel's best friend about this, that's when you actually confront Ariel, correct?
That's correct.
And you're upset, right?
That's not the primary feeling at the time. I was feeling a lot of other feelings, but I was also upset.
You were mad, right?
I was not mad.
You were not mad when you confronted your wife about these messages.
I was upset.
Mad.
It's natural to be mad in this sort of situation, isn't it?
You could be.
Yeah.
And in this confrontation,
Okay,
you
dude.
called Ariel a lying bitch, right?
I did call her that at some point, not in the beginning of the disclosure.
You called her a whore, right?
I did call her a whore at some point. Again, I think within like the first 24 hours, and not during the initial disclosure.
And after this all came out, after you confronted Ariel, called her a lying bitch, called her a whore,
Mm-hmm.
you wanted her to move out of the house. Is that right?
That's right.
You used an example yesterday where you talked about somebody else moving out for about 3 months and staying in a hotel, correct?
That's right.
And that's what you wanted Ariel to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
You just said you wanted Ariel to move out of the house. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but you just asked if I wanted her to specifically move into a hotel for 3 months. I had no. I did not want her to move out of the house for 3 months and go live in a hotel.
You just wanted her out.
I preferred to have her move out while we're dealing with the aftermath of her having an affair.
And Ariel didn't want to move out of the house. Is that right?
We both didn't want her to move out of the house. We both decided that together after talking about it.
You just said just a minute ago that you wanted her to move out, right?
That was my preference in the beginning. And then we decided that we're not going to do that. There's
Okay.
plenty of examples of people holding contradictory beliefs. And then you talk about it and think about it and figure out which way you're going to go.
Dr. Koenig, Ariel's children were 4 years old and 18 months old at the time that you wanted her to move out. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
No mother would want to move out of the house with their kids that age, would they?
I wouldn't think so.
But that's what you wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her to move out of the house for us to deal with the affair. And I
Did you see how he laughed about that? You see the anger? He wanted to shame her. He wanted to isolate her. And he wanted to punish her for what he thought was an illicit affair. Maybe we'll find out more. Maybe she'll have to go back on the stand and tell more about what she said already was flirty texts with a coworker. But this guy went above and beyond and wanted to punish her and make her move out of the house for some messages that he found with children that were extremely young. It was way above and beyond what needed to happen.
didn't want her to move out of the house and harm her children. I wanted both.
Now, another thing that you wanted is you wanted Ariel to quit her job, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's very
And
alarming.
this is the remote worker job,
Quitting her job is very alarming.
right?
That's correct.
So if Ariel wanted to stay in her career and advance her career, she had to work remotely, right?
That's correct.
If you were to stay on that, right?
Yes.
And once Ariel quit her job, as was your plan, she would have been 100% dependent on you and your salary, correct?
She would be dependent on our assets, which were all shared. We had a shared savings account. We had a home that was shared. We had vehicles that were shared. We had food in the house that's shared. I mean, we had a lot of things in the house, and they were all shared. We would lose her income as a family.
Yeah, but he's already a controlling person, so he would be able to hold that over her head whenever he wanted because she wouldn't be making any money.
For a short period of time. She has a very good resume. She would be able to get a job,
Well,
probably within a few months. But if it took a few months, we were prepared for that.
When Ariel quit her job, as was your plan,
mhm,
you would be the only breadwinner, correct?
that's right.
I would have the only one with a paycheck coming in while she didn't have a job. That is correct.
She would be dependent on you and your goodwill to keep a roof over her kids' heads, right?
No,
She would be dependent on you and your paycheck to keep her kids fed, right?
no,
You wanted Ariel to give up her career, correct?
no.
You wanted to make sure Ariel never had contact with Jeffrey Miller again, right?
That was my strong preference for her to not have contact with Mr. Miller ever again.
And in order to do that, you wanted access to Ariel's phone at all times. Is
That
that
is
right?
absolutely not correct.
You actually had Ariel's phone in December 2024, isn't that right?
I wouldn't say that. Like her phone, it's at many points in time, I had her phone in my hand. I would not characterize it the way you just did.
And you monitored her communications in December 2024 after you confronted her, isn't that right?
I, on several occasions, asked to see who she was communicating with, and she would show me. And the only time that I monitored her communications was for 48 hours when I was watching the WhatsApp messages. And most of those I was watching on my computer, not on her phone.
So today you're saying you were only monitoring her communications a little bit, right?
I don't know what you mean by a little bit. I just described to you how I was monitoring her communications.
Yesterday you testified about what you thought Ariel needed to do, isn't that right?
That's correct.
You testified that she needed to, quote, proactively give up privacy, correct?
Yes,
And you also said that she needed to be okay with giving up her privacy. Is that right?
that's right.
That's what you wanted, right?
That's what.
He wanted to punish her to the max. Punish, punish, shame, punish, punish, shame. How dare you have a connection with anybody else other than me? He called her names. He wanted to make her quit her really good job. He wanted to isolate her.
I wanted.
She didn't end up doing that, did she?
No.
And that upset you. Right?
Although she did do it. She did do it initially. She did it in San Luis Obispo, and she did it for a very short period of time in Maui, and then sporadically again in December. And honestly, she changed her behavior. So in January, February, March, she was not like, I didn't feel like she was hiding her phone from me anymore. I didn't feel, and I knew her passcode hadn't changed. So she was doing a lot of those things.
You knew her.
So then why did you purchase so then why did you purchase a recording device after all of this to literally record her conversations with her parents?
Passcode hadn't changed, right? You just said that.
That's right.
The only way to know that is by testing it, right?
No, you could also see them put in their passcode. And when somebody's sitting next to you and they're not hiding their phone, you can easily see who they're writing, what they're saying. You can easily see their.
There's an undercurrent of anger and irritation and defensiveness. Well, it's not really an undercurrent. It's very obvious to me.
Passcode. And if somebody's not worried about sharing the passcode with the person sitting next to them, you're basically showing it to them, and that's what was going on.
So you watched what Ariel was doing on her phone in person, right?
Yes.
Now, another thing you mentioned yesterday is that you believed the cheating spouse needs to put in the work, right?
That's not what I said.
You testified that the cheating spouse needs to put in the work, right? You said that.
I wouldn't characterize it like that. I would not say the work. The way you're making it sound is like there's only one work to be done. The work
Okay. So people like this will never give you an inch. They will argue and spin things around every chance they get. They will literally say, I didn't say that after saying it 5 minutes ago. He literally said that yesterday. He said those words yesterday. And now he's just spinning it and saying that he didn't say that. It doesn't really matter what you say to people like this. They will argue with you until they're blue in the face because they have to control. They have to control.
work that needs to be done to heal a relationship after any kind of issue like this involves both parties. And I was talking specifically about the part that the cheating spouse has to commit to doing. I was not saying that that was the only work that needed to be done, like you're implying.
Yeah, you did, because you said that yesterday. You said that she wasn't doing what I asked her to do. For example, have sex with you on command. Otherwise, he would tell other people about the affair, which is not a relationship. That's like a dictatorship. So I don't really know what he was doing to improve the relationship, because yesterday he basically said anytime she tried to bring up things in the relationship that he was doing that was causing their relationship to be bad, he labeled that as her not being cooperative.
Dr. Guna, if we could not go into anything implied, I'm just asking you a question, okay? I'm asking you what you said.
Your Honor, he's trying to answer the questions, should be allowed to answer.
It's non-responsive.
But that was not. He's asking questions, he's answering.
Don't let him get away with this bullshit
My
behavior.
objection is to him reprimanding the witness when all he's doing is answering the question. That's my objection.
Overruled.
Now, you
Overruled.
testified, I'm sorry. After you confronted Ariel about this affair, you wanted her to meet your physical needs, correct?
Here we go.
I
Here we go. Here
wouldn't characterize it like that.
we go.
You wouldn't characterize it as Ariel being unwilling to meet your physical needs? Would you?
I would characterize that I was in a relationship with Ariel for 8 years, and we had a physical relationship, and I had physical needs as part of that physical relationship prior to me finding out about the affair, and I had physical needs after the affair as well.
And she's a regular, we're talking about sex here, right, doctor?
No, I'm talking about physical intimacy with the person that I love the most, which includes sexual and non-sexual intimacy.
You believe that Ariel should meet your sexual needs after you confronted her about this affair, correct?
Mm-hmm.
No,
You don't believe
Your
that?
Honor, can we approach?
See what I mean? Any way to divert, deflect, argue, he could do this for days. He could literally do this for days, because he won't give, even if he says it and then the lawyer repeats it, he won't. He'll just argue and argue until you forget what you said. Yeah, this guy's, wow. Really narcissistic.
Ariel,
I ordered myself some.
One second, dudes. Got to get rid of this commercial. 1 second. Yeah, so we are seeing very big narcissistic, controlling, very dangerous behaviors. This is no joke at all. This is really scary behavior. Really, really
yeah, that's right.
behavior.
Ariel was unwilling to move out of the house and away from her children, correct?
Yes.
Ariel was unwilling to have sex with you whenever you demanded it. Isn't that right?
See that face? He's like, how can I argue this? He doesn't, he just wants semantics. Semantics.
Can you ask the question again?
Ariel was unwilling to have sex with you whenever you demanded it. Isn't that right?
He is trying to act confused, but he's not. He just needs to control every little detail. And he's showing it to the court. He's showing it to the jury.
I never demanded sex,
Yeah.
so that's not right.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute. I just don't.
At the time this is happening, right?
That's correct.
And after you call a woman a lying bitch and a whore, it makes sense that they don't want to have sex with you, right?
Objection argumented, Your Honor. Sustain.
Boom, right there. So in his mind, he has a wife that now has betrayed him, which I guess I'm hoping they'll get more into the texts or whatever and really clarify what this actually was. Was it a relationship that became more friendly and, you know, there was like emotional intimacy, or was it this blown up in his mind affair that wasn't an affair? But the fact is, he needed to be in control and she wasn't allowed. She wasn't allowed to do this. And so for him to think that he can talk to her and call her a lying bitch and all these things and still expect his wife to be turned on and like want to have sex with him is delusional. But because like now there's this power differentiation, right? So he's the authority because he is the morally superior one now. And I'm telling you, he would have used that against her forever if they stayed together. He would have used that whenever he wanted to assert control.
You still wanted Ariel to have sex with you after you called her a lying bitch, right?
We had sex in December, and that was after we had that conversation. Yes.
You were upset that Ariel was still talking to Gianna about you, right?
No.
You testified yesterday that you were upset that Gianna called you a monster, right?
I was upset. Well, that made me suspicious of how Ari was characterizing both the affair and our relationship at the time.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I think he's undermining what he thought about that. That made you suspicious. That probably enraged someone like this. That she was. So again, it's control. I need to not only control you, I need to control how you talk about me to other people. He was recording her conversations unknowingly to her about whatever to other people in the family after the affair.
Gianna.
And this is after you wanted to have Ariel move out of the house away from her kids, right?
Actually, this was during. At the time that she made that comment, we were in an argument where I was asking her to move out.
At the time she made that comment. Is this the argument you mentioned on December 26, 2024?
Yes.
Okay.
That went into December 27th.
The argument went into December 27th?
Yes.
Okay. So this argument happens. You're still mad, right?
And again, I wouldn't characterize my emotion as mad.
This type of person will literally nitpick semantics, everything, because they have to be in control. They have to control the narrative, how people see them. Do you see how he's constantly denying that he's angry? That's not a normal.
Whenever we talked, I was certainly upset, and but not mad.
This argument where Ariel told
I
you
don't believe you.
Gianna called you a monster. This is after you told her to quit her job, right?
I asked her to quit her job. I didn't tell her to quit her job. I asked her to quit her job as part of us healing from the affair at the beginning of December. I actually didn't ask her to quit her job at any point in time after that. I had asked her to give me updates on how the job search is going, but only in like probably the first couple of weeks of December. And then we never talked about it again. Like it was obvious that she wasn't looking for a job anymore. And at that point in time, we were discussing other things in the relationship. So the last time I had asked her to quit her job to help us heal from the affair was in the beginning of December.
So your testimony today is you just let this go? You just let this go about her job?
She had misstates.
I highly doubt it.
No, I did not let it
second book with the exact same title, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and that book's on page 4 of this exhibit, correct?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, and you purchased these on the same day, although you purchased the second one later in the afternoon around 2 p.m., correct?
Yes, that's what it looks like. Yep.
Two books with exactly the same name, right?
Yes.
That could get confusing if you're going to talk about them, right?
Yes.
Take the exhibit down. This book, How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair. That's directed at the wayward partner, correct?
Yes.
It's directions on the cheating person that they have to follow, correct?
Well, I mean, it goes into
Well. I mean, it's to punish my wife for the rest of her life for daring to cross me in this way. It is to slam down her self-esteem, make her quit her job, move out of the house with infant children because she dared talk to another man on WhatsApp. Now I have an evidence-based book that I can put in her face and factually say that she needs to do these things.
way that it explains why those things need to be done. So it was very helpful for me to read as well, because I understood all that needed to be done to kind of fix the relationship. And it does talk about some things.
All that needed to be done to fix the relationship was in that book, in the book that was telling your spouse what they needed to do to fix your relationship. Bingo. Do you see that? He doesn't have to do nothing. No self-reflection. No, what have I done to contribute to our relationship being this way? Nope, it's all on her.
That the other spouse has to do as well, but it's primarily focused on what the cheating spouse has to do.
So in your mind, this book is primarily geared towards Ariel, but you just wanted to read it too, correct?
No, like I said, the book describes very well what needs to happen after an affair, and the vast majority of what needs to be done in the initial stages is by the cheating spouse, but it does go into what the other person has to do, and it's geared for both partners. The title is How to Help Your Spouse Heal from the Affair, but the contents of the book is for both parties.
And this book is where you got these terms or these things you told us yesterday that you believed Ariel needed to do, correct?
This is one of the books that I used. Yeah.
This is where you, I guess you had the idea that she should quit her job before you read this book, right?
That's right.
Okay. But this book supported that idea for you, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And this book, again, as you just talked about, is the one that got that idea that the cheating spouse needs to put in work, right?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again?
This book also helped you with that idea that the cheating spouse needs to put in work. Is that right?
Yes.
And this is, again, the book that supports your idea that the cheating spouse needs to give up their privacy, right?
Proactively give up privacy as part of the healing process for a period of time. Yes.
We move forward a couple of days, so now would be a good time for recess.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a 10-minute recess. Come back at 11:40. We'll go until 12:30. All right.
Okay, so quick recap. I'm not convinced by his line of narration. I some of the things that came out today confirm my impressions of him. It's very clear to me that he's actively trying to hide any sense of anger about this, which is very odd to me that he would think that a court and jury would think that he would have no anger. He's very, very much trying to distance himself from any anger because maybe he thinks that will implicate him somehow. But he's also seems very unaware of his faulty behavior of and even the book choice is showing this even more, that the onus is on her to make this right. There's no mutual, like, and of course, if he thinks that she's having an affair, she needs to work on some stuff, they need to come together, she needs to, whatever, show her messages. I get that. But I don't think we're hearing the full story. And the whole sexual coercion bit is really concerning. I'm so glad she didn't quit her job. I'm so glad that she didn't die. I'm so glad that someone rescued her. I'm so glad that she's alive. And I really hope and pray that the jury can see through some of this falseness, because even the continual, oh, well, I didn't say that. Well, you literally said that yesterday. So you're going to sit and argue with every little semantic, because that's, cut and dry narcissistic behavior. Like, I have to be right. I'm right. You can't even repeat my exact words back good enough for me. I need to correct you. I need to correct the lawyer because he's not saying it exactly how I said it. So it's pretty cut and dry for me. I'm a therapist, so I see things pretty easily. I don't know if it's cut and dry for other people. Feel free to let me know. But this is pretty cut and dry for me. This is not a person that wants to take any accountability for his behavior. Some really concerning behavior for me is that it very, very much seems excessive what he did beforehand, before they talked about the affair, how he got the best friends involved and shamed her reputation before he spoke with his wife. And then the other part that's super concerning so far that we've heard is the part about how he somehow is justifying the fact that he purchased a recording device after they were working on their marriage and started actively recording every phone call that she was making to friends, family, parents, etc. Again, the theme is control. I need to listen. He's treating himself like he's an FBI agent. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I need to control what you're saying to your parents about me. I need to know exactly what you said to your best friend about me. Why? Why would anybody think that this is normal behavior? And I think that what happened here is there's some sort of narcissistic injury that happened in his psyche where he believed that he was entitled to this. And the fact that we heard today from the prosecution that he did this type of behavior with his ex-wife is very, very telling. So excited to hear more. This is my take so far. Would love to hear what your take is. Stay safe, everyone. If people are acting like this in a relationship, it's really, really dangerous. Don't ignore things like this. They only get worse. Just be safe and listen to your instincts. This woman listened to her instincts and it saved her life. She didn't feel comfortable on the hike. There was something inside of her that she didn't feel comfortable. This saved her life. She listened to her instincts. So never ignore your instincts about people. If you feel like you're being manipulated and controlled and abused consistently, please don't ignore that. Everyone stay safe, and I will be back. Have a great night.